Yo, what's up, everyone? Back for this Tuesday slate, a 4-game slate for tonight. Hopefully, you guys all had a good Monday of DFS. Had a pretty good day after it started off pretty rough with Lou Williams, 2 of 19, and then Alshon Jeffrey got hurt without doing anything, but still able to make out 303 even with Lou Williams here, and then still somehow cashed even though Jeffrey's only 27% owned. So happy about it. Ended up being a good night. So let's keep it rolling today. You can drop a like down below and subscribe if you have not already. Starting off here at point guard, I'm liking, and also I tweeted out the updated cores as usual on Twitter. So if you're for a reason to follow me, you can follow me there on Twitter to see the updates through when all the injuries and throughout the day as I do more research. But starting off here at point guard for this slate, Trae Young is where he should be priced. Don't think you're getting much value at that price tag, and a much discount, I should say. I prefer like Lillard and Graham to his prices. I prefer Rozier at 7,400. I like Jamal Murray at 6,700. RJ Barrett 55. Nice price tag, playing solid minutes here. Will Barton I think's in a bounce back spot here after not doing much offensively in 3 out of his last 4 games. I think he'll bounce back. Just still been shooting the ball well. At least that's there. He just hasn't had the shot attempts. And the minutes have been down a little bit, but I think in a matchup against the Sixers, they're going to want their best players out there for as many minutes as possible. So even though this game is not super appealing for fantasy, I think that's what everybody's going to do on a 4-game slate. So I don't mind going to some players in this Denver-Philly game just because they're two of the close. This game has a really high chance of staying close. Can't really say the same about Atlanta, Miami. Can't really say the same about New York and Portland. So just got to take some chances on a 4-game slate, and I think having some exposure or having some players in this game is probably the way I want to go. And then if Elfrid Payton starts over Ntilikina after his performance against the Pacers, where he was solid, he would be a nice play at only 4,200. But the guy that I want here is 5,200 for Ish Smith. Just a really good matchup for him. Playing 30 to 34 minutes here. Was just outmatched in the last time out against the Clippers. Was still decent, like made 5x value. Just going to play a lot and should have an opportunity to maybe flirt with the double-double just because they're going to score a lot of points here against this Hornets team. They play no defense. The Wizards also play no defense. This should be like a 240 total or something. Should be a really high-scoring game. So with all the injuries on the Wizards, like Ish Smith at 5,200. Over at shooting guard, Bradley Beal, 9,300. Really good spot for him. He's also just been a little bit more scoring dependent than Butler, who's 9,100. I kind of prefer Butler just because the matchup is another good matchup for Butler. Even though he was terrible shooting the ball, 3 of 14, he still put out 44 fantasy points. He has a triple-double in 2 out of his last 3 games. Without Winslow once again and without Dragic, just having to do a lot more offensively, facilitating, rebounding, and playing like playing like 36, 37 minutes in close games. Definitely will take that here at a nice price tag still. And then other guys I want to mention, the same players I was interested in on point guard. Rozier, Jamal Murray. Don't mind going to Tyler Hero, although 59 is it's not up there just because he's going to play a lot. So I think at 59 he can still be a nice play. Just because last time out he did get hot in overtime. Before overtime he wasn't really making value, but he got hot at the end of the game. That's kind of what you're playing him for, is just that the chance that he's going to get hot and just put up all the points, score like 5 threes in a quarter or something. So don't mind going to Hero at 59. Still like Barrett at 55. Kent Bazemore 5,000, going to play a lot of minutes. And then if maybe Kevin Huerter 4,400. There's not a ton of value right now. Hopefully that'll change throughout the day. But Butler at 91. A good thing we don't have like a $12,000 player to pay up for. So even if we don't get the values, we can still make it work going mid-range and paying up for like a couple studs. As small forward here, I'm liking, maybe Carmelo Anthony 56. His shot hasn't been falling the last 2 games, but gonna have to play 35, 36 minutes now. Even with all the injuries on the Blazers, now they're missing Rodney Hood, who's gonna be out for the year. So he's going to continue to play a lot of minutes. It's against his former team if you're into narratives. And just going to continue to be aggressive offensively. If his shot starts to fall, then you will easily be putting up 35, 40 fantasy points. I like Will Barton. I like Morris. I like Bridges. All 3 I like. Probably would rank Morris, Barton, then Bridges. And then cheaper here, there's not much of a cheaper option to go to right now. So I'm liking Barton at 55 just because this is the spot where, like I said, I expected him to have to play a lot of minutes. He is averaging 32 minutes on the year. A lot of the games have been blowouts for the Nuggets, so in close games, you could see like he's playing 36 to 38 minutes, except for the last couple games where he struggled. But it's also Mike Malone's the type of coach where if he's not playing well, he's not gonna, probably might not like close. But I'm not really concerned about it here. They're gonna want to have their best players out there, and he's been a really good shooter this year, like 45% from the floor, over 40% from three. And in Philly, just think at 5,500, he's so cheap for the 40-point upside that he does possess. Power forward, Hachimura is priced at 65. We're not getting a big discount like we were. Still playing so many minutes. It's a nice matchup where he can put up 35 fantasy points. At 6,500, you'd really need like 40 plus for him to really crush value. Don't know if we can really, lock him in there for that. Julius Randle's in a good spot. He's going to be defended by Carmelo Anthony. Big time size advantage there. We'll just hopefully be able to back him down into the paint. But Randle's not having a great year for the Knicks, but still at a nice price point at 6,400. But if I was going to go to a Knicks player, I think maybe going to Morris is a little bit cheaper, a little bit safer just in terms of shooting the basketball, shooting 50% from three, 40+% from the floor. He's scored like 20+ points in a lot of these games as of late. Good matchup against Portland. Whether he's defended by Carmelo or by Kent Bazemore is going to have the size advantage. And the Portland defense is nothing special. They're bottom half in terms of the overall defense and bottom half in terms of power forwards and small forwards. Just they don't have the size really. Morris should have a good game on the glass and will be able to score probably at will. And then as center here with Embiid and Jokic being so closely priced, I prefer Embiid on Draftkings, but maybe on Fanduel I prefer Jokic. The price tag is a lot different over there, but Embiid at home, 9,500. I believe the Sixers are still undefeated at home, which is nice. But nice price tag on Embiid. Whiteside at 8,000. He's been solid here playing minutes. Price tag is up there to 8,000 now, but decent matchup against the Knicks are nothing special. Rebounding the basketball, Whiteside has been great with the blocks. Don't know if we can, count on him getting 5 blocks or 10 blocks, but can still make value just because he gets rebounds, points, blocks. And maybe you could go to Randle if you want. And Wagner, don't know what to do with him. He played 18 minutes, played like 4 minutes in the second half. Brooks was not impressed with him. So we got the boot. I'm happy that he's at 6,000 now, so I don't really have to worry about it. And then I like Millsap at 4,800 just for value. But Embiid at 95, I think this is a spot where he can put up 50+ fantasy points at any given night, 60+ as well. He's going to have to play 35 minutes-ish with good defending Jokic. Defending Jokic and defending Millsap. They definitely is a spot where the game will stay big. Embiid struggled with the turnovers the last 2 games, 15 turnovers. But that was against Toronto. And then Washington is pretty surprising getting 8 turnovers. But hopefully here against Denver, he can, at home, I like that fact. And the price tag is still down on him. And then at forward, I'm looking at maybe like Millsap. If I don't get exposure to Jokic, might want to try to get like another nugget in there. And that's probably Millsap here at just 4,800, just so cheap. He's only played 21 to 22 minutes the last 3 games, but there's a little bit of a reason behind that probably. It's Brooklyn, the game probably went small. I mean, they played Terran Prince as their 4. So it makes sense that Jeremy Grant played a lot at the 4. Against Boston was a blowout in the 4th. Knicks was a blowout. So you could see that. And then against Sacramento, I'm not sure what happened there. But before that, he was playing like 30. In close games, you can kind of count on him to play 30 to 35 minutes as long as he's not in foul trouble and the matchup doesn't go small. It's a spot where the Sixers are going to close with Horford and Embiid. So it's a spot where Millsap should be out on the court, definitely over Grant. I don't think the Nuggets want Grant defending Horford. So if we can get 30+ minutes out of Millsap and we can get him to like 32 minutes, nice cheap price tag there. And against the Sixers a month ago, he played 35 minutes. So hopefully that's a sign of how many minutes he'll play tonight. He's still been a good shooter this year, 47%, 48% from 3. And it's a spot where you're going to need his size out there against the Sixers. So I don't mind going to Paul Millsap at a $4,800 salary. So that's what I'm liking for DraftKings as of now. And then let's get it on over to Fanduel. It's kind of the same story with the players that I'm interested in. At point guard, Ish Smith, 5,200. Just cheap over here as well on Fanduel. Gonna play a lot. And there's no other cheap 5K option that I'm really interested in. Maybe none as a pivot. Maybe Peyton if he starts. But really, I think Ish Smith is safe in this matchup, and he does possess some upside. At shooting guard, I like paying up for both Beal and Butler is fine. I prefer Butler just because he does a little bit more of everything than Beal. But when you have Devontae Graham at 7,900, I think you can just play him. He is cheaper than he is on DraftKings, so anytime somebody's cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings, that always gets my notice because it should be the other way around. This type of matchup, Devontae Graham's playing great basketball. He does possess like a 50, 60-point ceiling, and he's playing 37 minutes in close games. This game should play close. Good, good for good offenses. Hornets aren't great offense, but the Wizards will allow every offense to score like 120 points. And that's going to come from Graham. It's going to come from Rozier mainly, and then you can pick your poison with like Bridges or Washington. But really, I want to get exposure to the main guys, and that's Devontae Graham. Small forward, I'm looking at the same kind of players, Barton, Morris. I prefer Anthony on DraftKings than FanDuel, but he's still in play. Bridges, 54, and Bazemore, my main interest here. And then for value, maybe Troy Brown at 4,600. And then the absolute minimum punt play is Derek Jones at 3,500. Still like Morris here, 6,100, just because don't know he's going to be super popular today. He's going to play quite a bit of minutes here. It's a spot where, the amount of minutes he gets will be important, because if this game stays close and he plays his normal amount of minutes, I think he can get you like 35 to 40 fantasy points. I hope the Knicks can keep it somewhat competitive. It's not like the Blazers have been blowing any team out as of late. They're not very good defensively this year. So Morris at 6,100 does possess a 35, 40, even a 45-point ceiling. So don't mind getting to him at not a great small forward position on FanDuel. Power forward, I like Adebayo a lot if he plays. Adebayo a lot, maybe like Rui at 66. But when he got Paul Millsap at 4,600, I think he's definitely worth the gamble here on FanDuel. Just really cheap. Like I mentioned on DraftKings, it's a spot where he should have to play a lot, like 30-plus minutes. And he does have a decent ceiling. He's been good shooter. And the Sixers are also one of the worst teams in the league at turning the basketball over. So Millsap, a decent defender, can maybe rack up some blocks and steals here, just because the Sixers do turn the ball over a lot with Embiid and Simmons. So don't mind getting to Millsap. And then over at center, I like Jokic at 8,800. When he's $1,600 cheaper than Embiid compared to like $400 on DraftKings, I think that the price tag discrepancy is worth taking a chance there. So I'm liking Jokic. I'm liking Zeller at 4,700 as a value play. And maybe Whiteside if you don't like Jokic. Could be a nice pivot. But Jokic is not going to be super popular tonight, but I think it's a spot where, like against the Celtics, he played really well. Against the Sixers here this year, he played really well. In their meeting in Denver. Last season against the Sixers, he played well. It's just a matchup. Embiid's a good defender, but Embiid also can get tired easily throughout the game, and he's going to have to work on the offensive end. Sometimes he does allow other centers to have big games against him, especially skilled centers like Jokic. So I like this. I like getting some exposure to this Philly game, like I said, because I want to be a little different on the slate of only 4 games, and I do think that with the prices so appealing on a lot of these guys that they're going to go overlooked. So that's it for this slate. That's what I'm liking. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And drop a like if you enjoyed, and good luck today.